Hello, hello. So there must be so many new people on my page that have never ever seen me live or heard me speak or even know who I am. I'm Sarah Jennings. I do a lot of things. I'm like one of those Renaissance ladies that have my fingers in many pies, but for the last 8 years, I have been doing aura transformations. I'm also an instructor for that modality. So I'm called an aura mediator instructor, but I'm also a creative kinesiologist, and I've created my own kinesiology method, which is working in groups. And I've created the money gateway, the visibility gateway, and something called heart retrieval, but there's a program about it called Love Again, the heart retrieval mapping consciousness journey. So I'm super interested in the healing arts, transformation, powerful transformations, and my focus lately has been really wanting to work with people in the healing arts. So I'm talking about, like wellness practitioners, chiropractors, quantum healers, energy healers, anything to do with sort of like alternative medicine practices. And so I like to focus on working with those kind of people because I am one. So it makes sense that I understand that field, and I spent, the first few years of me becoming a practitioner was really hard because people ridiculed this brand new fangled thing that they'd heard that I was doing, the oral transformation thing. So I've gone through quite a lot of opposition and, quite a lot of mountains and hurdles to cross to become, I would say, credible and successful at in this profession. And I know for a fact that many really struggle to make it work in the healing professions. And that's kind of why I'm here, and I wanted to talk about that. So, I've actually been on holiday for 2 months. And that is unheard of for me, not only because I love my work and I like working, so it's hard for me to stop, but because to be able to afford to go on holiday for 2 months, for most people, is not a possibility. And I have to, I can put it down to my hard work and creative thinking around how I earn money and how I create transformational containers for people. I went from focusing a lot on one-to-one work into teaching courses. So that means from one-to-one to groups, which keeps it affordable for people to work with me, but also means that I earn more per container. So it kind of like a win-win for everyone. And so you start thinking smart about money, but all the money stuff that meant I could go on holiday for 2 months, as in I was at home mostly, but I was relaxing after like an intensely creative, productive year. And the fact I could do that was because I had enough money to survive to do that. And I just know that it's not been like that for me. In the past, I've found that as a healer or a spiritual entrepreneur or a coach, if you're not working, if you're not offering, then money's not coming in. And a lot of people in the healing arts end up taking jobs in things that they don't love to help make ends meet. And I think that I find that heartbreaking because I know how I would struggle if I had to go work for someone else or work in a job I don't really love, because I know that people in the healing arts don't just choose, God, so many notifications coming up. People in the healing arts do not choose out of pleasure to go it alone and become a healer person in our modern day world, or in the recent past one either. So it's done out of, it's like a deep burning desire. There's also a deep sort of remembering of like, I'm supposed to be doing this thing, and I've got healing hands, or I feel vibrations, or I'm clairsentient, clairaudient, clairvoyant, all those things. And then you like sort of pander with it, you kind of tickle at it like a little hobby. But actually deep down, I would say some of you that are in the healing arts but are able to earn a living from the healing arts end up being, I don't know, frustrated or sort of sick and tired with yourself even, because you're not able to do what you love every day. You can only do it as a hobby in like a Sunday evening or something. And I find that it's a tough reality. And then money is a huge story with the healers and the wellness pack. I call them, I'm just going to make a little statement here. I call them healers. It rolls off the tongue for me. I call it the healing arts and healers. And I do mean generally that you're going to go work with someone. If you seek healing, it's you that does your own healing on yourself. But you seek activations or knowledge, wisdom, and a helping hand from healers. Doesn't mean that healers are responsible for your healing. And I understand that. I'm just using it because it's an easy catch-all statement around who I'm talking to. And if you know you're a healer, you know it. So, what was I going to say, though? I've tangented myself. So much. I mean, I have a masterclass that is called Money and the Healing Arts. And I watched it today because I haven't watched it in a while. And it's actually brilliant. And it has, I would say, like 7-month course, 7 years of my life's learning around money and income and the healing arts in an hour and a half. And it is actually the introductory part 1 of the Money Gateway course. So everyone gets to watch that before we start the course, and I give it for free to anyone that's interested. And just watching that will give you so many tools and keys into unlocking your money stories as someone in the healing arts. And you know, like the confusion and the question marks about like, why is it so hard to make money? Why can't I make ends meet? You know, there's like almost like a shame attached to being a healer, like a starving artist healer, that, you know, you're not making it work, that you can't support your family doing the healing work, whether that's, you know, massage or quantum healing or whatever. So what is it with the money story? And the money story is so multifaceted, and it has so many layers: historical, emotional, cultural, societal, our education system. There's so many layers to the money story for the healer types that masterclass goes into many layers of it. And if you're struggling with your money story, because that's what it is in a way, is your money story that is encoded into your energy field, into your emotional body, your mental body, the stories that you tell yourself about money, the conversations that you have with yourself around money every day are going to impact or are contributing to you struggling, having money, holding onto money, keeping money. So, you know, you might have the experience that you make some money, but you spend it immediately, or it disappears, or bills come, or something breaks, and it's just impossible to accumulate and to hold it. So it just comes in and out all the time. And that's, if you know, when that's going on, you're like, how is it even possible that there's no money left? Or your money story for healers can be a huge impact to do with money's bad, evil, not good, you know, all that, not spiritual. I mean, if you've been reading and following any of my work over the last year, anytime I've mentioned money, I have received such a backlash. I mean, really, like, kind of been attacked, personally attacked, kind of trolled, just mean emails, people angry, concerned, and all the things, just because I've talked about money. So I know it's a very supercharged topic, and certainly because that wouldn't happen if I was like a car salesman talking about how well I did with money or something. But the fact that I'm a spiritual teacher, a healer, all those things, it's sort of like not the done thing, and it's a taboo thing. So I've spent like the last, well, longer than that, years, really kind of feeling and refining and understanding where do these stories come from. And this leads me nicely into my way of working with people in a group is kinesiology. And this is how I have learned and understood the field around the healing arts and money, and being, trying to make a success in this field, so that you can follow the dreams and passions and the skills and talents and your soul, spirit's mission and purpose on this life, that you can follow that and not have to take jobs that you don't want to take. But by using kinesiology, I have been able to work with hundreds of people with similar issues in this direction that I'm talking about now, and many others. And we are like Sherlock Holmes, investigating, opening doors and figuring out patterns and where they sit in the system and why they are there, when did it start, and what is needed for it to shift. And all of that happens through the art of kinesiology and muscle testing. So this leads me into, people are like, okay, so the Money Gateway, 6 weeks of kinesiology, how are you going to change my money story? How is that possible? And it is very possible. And that's why I feel very confident in doing just kinesiology without teaching anything apart from that masterclass about money, because we are going to go to the root and the energetic pattern of the money story in your system, and start unpicking it, unraveling it, dissolving it, loving it, and shifting it. And these the more accurate that you can be about an energetic pattern or a frequency or a thing happening, the more precise, you've hit the bullseye, and understanding what that thing is, your mind, your body, your brain, and your spirit can work together to start finding some harmony, coherence, and more space and expansion and freedom from something that might have been causing you suffering. There's also a little caveat there that some of the things that you do that sabotage, I don't use that word, but people often say you're self-sabotaging, you ruin your chances of making money or your business or whatever. This self-sabotage thing around money is actually not sabotage. It's actually protective mechanisms and defensive mechanisms that you have built over a lifetime to keep you safe and protected from all sorts of dangers that are in your field, often when you are so young and small that you don't really remember what the dangers were, but you've built up a bunch of habitual responses that kept you alive, kept you safe, and kept you alive and safe and well at that time. But now you're still behaving in those ways to keep yourself safe. So some people have this with love, they avoid love and intimacy because love isn't safe for whatever reason, because love used to mean shouting or no one coming to feed you, or so love is dangerous, so you're not going to let people in. And it's the same with money. Whatever you heard growing up, whatever your experiences with having money or not having money, the stories that you've heard repeatedly, you keep yourself safe from having money. So imagine you grew up hearing that money is just for greedy, arrogant people. So then you spend the rest of your adult life wanting to be a good, spiritual, good boy and girl, and you make sure that you don't have too much money, because then you would be an arrogant XYZ. Because you heard that repeatedly. Oh, look at them with the money. So whatever you heard growing up, and I'm going to say whatever your system, your DNA, your body, your aura, your spirit has heard throughout its entirety around having an abundance and wealth, health wealth, not just money wealth. I'm talking about all levels of receiving and having, of richness, of time richness, of pleasure richness. If your body system and ancestry haven't allowed you to feel what that feels like to have, and your child self, your inner child baby self, didn't feel that safety and security, that having everything you need to feel abundant and rich, if you don't have that, your body has created ways of dealing with that so that you felt okay and safe in that environment. So that means now you, as a good healer person, that you've worked diligently, you're putting yourself out there, and no one does that, I'm going to go out there and do a job half the population ridicule because of some ancestral stories about witches that aren't even true. I'm going to put myself out there and I hope I get attacked for doing what I really need to do for my own spirit's evolution. No, people don't choose healing as a profession for laughs. They do it because they hurt so deeply as a person that they remembered something maybe ancient about themselves, or the earth wisdom, or they were part of a lineage of information and knowledge around a healing profession, and they're there to pick up the lineage, or they just have overcome such traumas and difficult situations in their own life that they feel they hold keys that they can share with others, and they just have a passion and a fire to share those keys with people because it helped them, and they keep doing it even though they get ridiculed. So if you decide, okay, I'm going to be a healer person, I hope I might have to just rearrange for the battery. Might have to hold the phone. Sorry. Yeah, so you've decided you're going to be like a healer person, and you do all your training, and you have your nice fancy website, and everything is cool, but you realize you freak out about asking for money. You charge so little that you just about cover the rent for the room that you rented. Certainly hasn't covered all the education costs. And I'm just going to hold it. You just don't charge enough. And I really do think that the starving healer artist kind of vibe or look in the healing arts has to stop. We need to elevate collectively the integrity, authenticity, and the value that we provide. Be able to communicate the value of what we do as healers and charge appropriately so that we actually survive, and not be stressed out and our nervous system hijacked because we're holding the fort for so many people. And yeah, I really believe that most healers with integrity will work until they master and perfect whatever it is that they're offering. And if you haven't yet, then do that. Really learn from practice, from evidence, what it is that you really do and offer. And speak with it with heart and certainty and conviction. Because people need us. We need us, and people need us. And I actually think it's such a beautiful thing. When I think about it, if you walk around the world or the media long enough, you start forgetting how magic we are and how beautiful earth wisdom is and human spirit is. And actually, people in the healing arts are holding deep, ancient lineages of whether it's herbal wisdom, body wisdom, ancient wisdom, and it's been suppressed and oppressed repeatedly, but we're still here and we still remember. And sometimes that's a violent awakening. And I feel for you. Mine was very violent awakening, but very exciting. And that's for another day. But yeah, so how does the kinesiology work? I speak in tangents, just so you haven't noticed. So the kinesiology part. So someone is joining the course and went, yeah, but how do you shift these things? How are you going to shift our money beliefs and our lack of worth, core wounding, or our inability to receive or to take in, or our lack of, like our wobble and certainty around asking for money for healing work? How are you going to transform that? So this is how it works. There is a video that it goes into more detail. That is the introduction to how I work with kinesiology in groups, and it is a prerequisite to joining the course because you need to know how to behave in the group setting and explain what it is and what it isn't. So kinesiology is beautiful, and the school that I trained in, absolutely amazing creative kinesiology school. Very thorough training, like 3.5 years it took me or something. Millions of case studies, loads of other extra courses we had to take, like anatomy, physiology, trauma course. The had to do nutrition, like all sorts of proper stuff, and plus a foundation course where you weren't even allowed to really work on anyone. And then another major course, the professional series. We're accredited by several, reputable British foundations in, like, I think it's called, this isn't like my forte. There's the Kinesiology Foundation, as well as it's the British Association of Medical Alternative Medicine, I think it's called. So anyway, we're insured and accredited. It's all good, like professional. And I really recommend that to any healer that's sort of got innate gifts like I did. I could do all this powerful energy work, but it was like I was like a toddler with a lightsaber. Like, what am I doing with this energy? It was blowing me up, blowing other people up. So training, in a proper training, I really recommend, just so that you can really ground your magic and really offer something of value and of so that you understand the consistency in the quality of your work. Anyway, kinesiology is the art of muscle testing. So people always say, how do you do kinesiology when you're not in the room with people? So I've been doing one-to-one kinesiology online for a good few years now, way before the pandemic times. And basically, I surrogate my arm to muscle test for you. And I feel just as much as I would if I was in a room with people. I'm incredibly attuned and sensitive to energy patterns and sensations. I basically kind of mirror the other person. I can feel it all happening in my body, sometimes before or at the same time as they can. And when we're in a group, those kind of changes in energy and these sensations as we bring things up ripple through the room, and everyone's feeling the, what's that? Like constriction in the throat, or that deep sicky feeling in the stomach, and we can all feel it, and then we all work towards transmuting it, alchemizing it, and changing it. So with the muscle testing, we get a yes and a no from the body. So if I was in a room with you, let me just prop my phone again. I think I've got that. Hang on. Yeah. So if you were muscle testing someone in a room, you'd have their arm out and you would push very lightly, and if the arm muscle holds straight and strong, it's a yes from the body. The body feels strong, in integrity, your muscles are working. If the body is saying no, not that, or that doesn't feel good, or that's trauma or something, it switches off. The muscle goes weak. It's not strong. And I kind of don't muscle test for myself, and I kind of don't let people go, can you just muscle test this for me? Because you could be, if you just off the cuff muscle test someone, like, just randomly, you could be muscle testing their fear, their emotional stuff, some unknown, something out of an alignment. So what we do in sessions is we spend a good few moments at the beginning of any session making sure you're really in your body, really aligned, that we're going for the highest good, the highest intent, the deepest body wisdom, and that we're going to really come to, really get the right answers that are, for the highest good of yourself or the group. So we get ourselves very, very centered and connected before doing any of the muscle testing. But as a seasoned practitioner when that moment is. And then we do a lot of diagnostics. First we actually find the themes that are common. So I'm talking this in a group level, but if we were one-to-one, we'd talk for a bit, like what's going on, where do you want to go, what do you want, knowing where you want to go. And the same with the group, because we're talking about money in the money gateway or visibility in the visibility gateway, we often have statements and goals related to money. So I feel comfortable talking about money. If we muscle tested most healers, they'd probably switch off and go, I'm not okay with talking about money. So it's like an untrue statement. The body does not believe you. I'm abundant. I can receive nourishment. I can receive good energy, including money, including love, including nature energy. Your body might switch off if you have a receiving issue. Money is safe, might switch off. So if we have simple statements that the group in the money gateway are going to come together, and we're going to figure out and choose the statements that make most sense to that group. And then you check the system. So when we're doing group work, you are, say, 6 to 10 people in the room, in the Zoom room, and you are each in your own bubble. And we center ourselves. You're each in your own energy. And then we center ourselves, we come into circle. And then in the center of the circle is all the common themes and threads of the group energy that start to emerge. And that is what I'm muscle testing. So we start figuring out what switches on, what switches off. And if we're being good, like honed in on what's really important to the group, most of those statements will switch off, and we are going to have to find a way to switch them on. And so then we do diagnostics, like what system is being affected by these statements switching on, these switching off, these patterns. So money is safe is switching off. Is it the nervous system, the immune system, the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body? Is it ancestral? Is it the hormone system? Is it the mind, the head, heart, or the gut system? Where is this pattern switching off? And why is it held in that system? And that's when we start doing the really exciting stuff, which is, as a group, intelligence start to investigate and fight, like the Sherlock Holmes side of things, where we start to investigate, like, why? So why is money is not safe is affecting the nervous system into a freeze response. So the muscle testing will be like, yes, that, not this, yes, that. So we've gone, it's in the nervous system. It's a freeze response. Why? Is it historical? Is it an age? Is it something happening today? Like the politics today? Like we start investigating, asking questions, and I have like a plethora of massive amounts of information, body systems, energetic systems, cards, vibrational essences, the full Chinese medicine, acupuncture points, like meridian points. I have like 100 maps of consciousness here. And we use the muscle testing to get the information we need to investigate what is happening in our bodies. So every single group that comes together for a course is a unique group with unique patterns. So this particular group coming together for the Money Gateway, which starts on Monday, will have its own set of themes that we will start understanding when we introduce ourselves. It'll be like, oh, this happening again. So I know there's going to be common themes that come up for that group around money and being in the healing arts. We're already half full, so there's still some spaces. And the final bit I wanted to get to, because I was only going to be on quick, is how do we shift something when we find it? So we found, like we just carried on with, money is not safe. The nervous system is in a freeze response. We found that it's because of hearing our parents argue about money when we were 2 or something. And just everyone happens to have that story, let's say. That's maybe a bit rarer, but just for the sake of this. And then we will find, we'll use the muscle testing to find, so once we've understood the story a bit more, our mind is like, oh, okay, and the body's like, oh, and only what the body is ready to let go of will present. So the body's going to be ready to let go of that, and we'll check. And we're not going to do anything crazy and make the body feel scared. Like, money's not safe. Safety is a big deal. We don't want to feel like we're in danger every time we're near money. So we then sensitively work towards finding a technique or a tool that our body is looking for to help release the looping trauma in our nervous system. And what we might do is might be a series of points, or we might have to do an exercise that helps the vagus nerve start to operate properly again, which links the amygdala, the vagus nerve, and the adrenals, and the fight-flight response. So it's something to condition and regulate the nervous system. We might have to hear something, some words of wisdom, but basically the magic of kinesiology is it's not just talking therapy. that might take 20 years to get to the crux of the problem. It is not just energy work where you get into a heightened vibration and frequency, and then by the time you've gone home and done normal life, it hasn't integrated because the body's still holding on to that trauma. So it's a combination of all these things. It's physical, actual body work where the biolocation of trauma and your spirit can actually work together to release something. It's using talking therapy stuff, but it gets to the bullseye. The muscle testing means you can get straight to the point, not dilly-dally around it. And the body can speak to us and tell us we need this exact thing to help shift it. So that's how we do it. That's how we shift things so rapidly in kinesiology. And that's why the visibility gateway, which is very different to the money gateway. Visibility gateway is like epic. It's got like marketing, it's got feedback on your videos, it's got magical marketing, it's got coaching calls and kinesiology calls. It's intense, it's massive, it's like a full-on transformation and practicing the transformation and integrating it. It's quite amazing. And you come out with so much of that course. I created Money Gateway afterwards because money came up so often in Visibility Gateway as a major blockage to presenting yourself as a healer with certainty, integrity, power, and truth. And also not the money became a reason. The blockages and limiting beliefs around you and money was stopping you from being visible with your healing work. So I realized that we couldn't cover enough on the money stuff. We do at least 2 sessions, one on money, one on selling during the Visibility Gateway, but there was so much more that could come out of it. And when you come into a group container with me, with kinesiology, imagine me and you are sitting doing kinesiology. Great, powerful. We're going to shift stuff for you. When you've got 10, 12 people, all powerful energy healer people anyway, that transmute energy anyway, all working to shifting deep ancestral, cultural, historical, societal, emotional, mental, physical blockages to money and the healing arts, and we're working together to lift the lid off that, that's magic and that's power. So working in a group like this, I don't know what's going to happen in the Money Gateway. I don't know what those magical threads that connected us as this group is. I don't know what exact statements are going to come up, and I have no idea where the muscle testing will take us. It's the mystery, it's magical mystery, but it's deeply powerful change. So you will enter the Money Gateway in one timeline, possibly of lack, poverty consciousness. I can't afford, I can't do this, I can't do that. I don't charge enough, I know I don't charge enough. You're in one timeline of your experience as a person, and you're going to go through the Money Gateway and you will be in another timeline and another place where you've turbocharged your wealth frequency. You've created a different conversation with money day to day, but you've also created a different interface and conversation with the universe and your world about your worth, what you deserve to receive, and about the kind of the way you hold yourself in the world. And people have said miraculous things have happened to their money after doing the Money Gateway. You know, that they get new opportunities arise, they get promotions, or they quit their job, or someone offers them a space in the healing center that they always wanted to work in, all that kind of stuff. So if your money story, which isn't healthy, is conversing with the universe, then that you're only getting a response to that limiting money story. So if we change it right down to the deepest level, then different things happen in your life. So it's an amazing, powerful 6 weeks that we're going to have together. We start on Monday. They're 4 p.m. UK time. So if this video is being watched into the deep future, these times won't be true anymore. But for 2021, 6th of September 2021, 4 p.m. is the 3.0 Money Gateway. There are still some spaces. There's 2 videos to watch before we start, and a bit of a mapping and tracking yourself and your money story so that we know what kind of stuff we're going to work on together. This was way longer than I thought, but I've loved it. Thank you for watching, for being there. If you enjoy my work or found this useful, please give it a love, like, share, all that kind of stuff. Ask me anything you want. I'm going to post the masterclass. And like I said, it's incredible. I watched it myself. I learned a lot. There's so much in that masterclass that it's well worth a watch. It's free. You can have it with generosity and love from me. And if you really followed through all things that I mention in the Money Gateway Masterclass video, you could probably really change your money story quite a lot. But if you want me to hold your hand through the shifts, then come and play.